Y'all ready for me to recap Summer House Martha's Vineyard Season 2, Episode 8? I am, because baby, it was a good one and I got a lot to say. So we pick up where we left off last week with Bria in her feelings, telling Simon he gotta go, he gotta leave because he's embarrassing her, running around in a flamingo costume at this party. Was it embarrassing? Was people looking at him like he was a guy? Absolutely 100%. So Bria goes outside and she crying. Amir drunk, trying to give her advice when he needed advice on how to dress, how to talk, how to walk, everything, his choice in women, everything. Like when it comes to Amir, I'm literally on some Kendrick where I hate the way that you talk, I hate the way that you walk, I hate the way that you dress. Like he is literally Drake to me. So the next day, Summer's on the phone with her grandmother who's about to have surgery, and she says in her confessional that, she's beating up on herself that she's not there with her grandmother while her grandmother is going through surgery. I don't know why she just didn't leave the day before. The summer was literally pretty much over, the 2 weeks. Just leave early and go be with your grandmother. Nick says to Amir, this is an interesting sight to see. Noelle and Bria are out there talking, and here goes Natalie in the mix. They see them outside on the hammock. And so they then cut to the girls outside on the hammock, and Natalie points out how Tasia went up to the room early. Now, mind you, she was the one that started this conversation. She pointed out how the night before during the party, Tasia went upstairs early to go to bed, and how Nick was still downstairs and, in her words, trying to get into something. Now, she was the one that kicked this whole conversation off about Nick. Now, from what we saw this on tonight's episode, it seemed like Amir and Natalie and Nick and Tasia got somewhat of a couple's friendship. It might not be close, but they've kicked it with each other. They're comfortable enough with each other. So even with that being said, why would you even start up a conversation like that about him? Noelle was like, I want to know from her perspective, how is it coming here not knowing how my boyfriend might have acted less than 48 hours ago? And Bria jumps in and was like, he still has been touchy-feely, even with Summer and Jordan being flirtatious. Now, I was like, at first I was thinking in my head, did they edit this out of sequence? Did this party and stuff happen literally like the day after that conversation with him and Jordan and Summer with the touchy-feely conversation, and we just now seeing it? They edited it out of sequence. But no, we find out later that happened a week ago. So I'm still trying to understand why Bria would even say it like that. But I'm still not going to negate the fact that it happened. He was, doing a little bit too much at one point. Do I still feel like he's disrespectful when it comes to Tasia? Absolutely 100%. But at this point, Tasia saw what he was doing last summer, which was even way more disrespectful than this summer, and she still decided to stay with him. So ain't nothing need to be discussed. She dumb. She like it. We love it. We want some more of it. Noelle was like, you could tell he wants to be wild. And Natalie was like, I can bring it to her attention and tell her the girls want to talk to you about what Nick's been up to. All said, nah, we good. It ain't that deep. We don't even want to have that conversation with him. They all said this to this messy. Bria was like, he's the type that I'm sure when he's in that state, he would do it. Like have sex with somebody else. Do I think that? Absolutely. If one of them girls wanted to, he 1000%. Y'all already know this about him. And Tasia knows this about him. And Tasia's still there. Natalie goes inside and immediately goes and tell Amir about the conversation that they had. Amir does not tell her, hey, mind your business. It ain't got nothing to do with you. That's my boy. Let them handle that. Stay out of it. And I'm like, use a messy old Uncle Tom. So Bria and Simon sit down and talk again. And he points out to her that at his events, she does not always act right, that she get an attitude and she storms out. And she says it's because he doesn't defend her when it comes to his people because they're racist. And she brings up an incident where she was like, you never see anything. You never see anything. Like, you just so happen to never see anything like the time that girl told me to go back to my country and pushed me and I had to push her back. Then she says a story in her confessional where Simon's cousin said she didn't know Simon dated indigenous women. You got all this mouth and smoke for everybody in the house, but you sitting up here laying up with a white man that does not protect you. And especially against racism. So that in me makes me feel like, A, he don't get it. And he probably doesn't, considering that he's German. And he don't want to get it. And he probably is racist too. You know what I'm saying? Half of the house go bike riding. It's something that they do every summer. And at lunch, Natalie mouths to Tasia, we need to talk. And Tasia across the table was like, oh, okay. Now, mind you, she's about to go home. So then Natalie gets out of her seat. Now, mind you, Amir is still hungover, drunk, sick, all of that. This up out her seat goes around the table to Tasia, who's sitting across from Nick, and says, hey girl, you want to go talk? You want to go have a moment? Petting her hair like she's a dog. Petting her hair. And Tasia looks up at her and was like, I don't know, it depends on what. What we going to talk about? And Nick's sitting there like, so Natalie was, I just wanted to keep you in the loop before anything comes to your attention. White people are wild. You got to give it to her. The boldness of it all. To go to this girl in her face and say that she got to tell her something before it gets to her attention in front of him. I don't understand how Nick did not cuss her the out right then and there, her and them biking shorts. They have no qualms about it, no fear, no nothing. She think y'all some punks. Like, what the? So Tasia was like, I'm about to leave. It's fine. She was like, okay. And walks past Nick and like pats him on the arm. I would have grabbed her wrist and broke. Touch me after you just played in my face the way you just did. And then you gonna pat me like good you. So Nick was like, what the fuck? Like, it's always something. Like, he's trying to figure out what's going on. Natalie then goes back, takes her seat next to Amir and was like, she said she didn't want to talk. And he was like, oh, okay, well, you tried to tell her. Like, he's co-signing her doing this for his friend. Instead of telling her, you doing too much. This ain't your show. This my show. Like, she trying to get a spot on this show. That's the reason why she with your stupid. While you sitting up here talking about you want to marry her. But when asked where she sees herself in the next year or two, she said building her team at the real estate company. After that, the way to drop her off at the airport, Nick texts Natalie, Tasia didn't like what you did. And she responds back telling him what the girls said. And Amir was like, make sure he knows that you were trying to help. Do you not know the code? Obviously he don't. He Drake. I'm sorry. I should be mad at myself that I'm expecting too much from this white boy. Like, I'm doing too much. Calm down, Keisha. So she was like, I don't want her to hate me. I don't want to seem like the problematic drama girl. So Amir was like, no. You're not doing that at all. This conversation is going to happen regardless. First of all, you said yourself in your confessional that you yourself already had this conversation with Nick earlier in the season when y'all was filming. They flashed back to it. So you did your part as your friend, as his friend, telling him, hey, you need to cool out, watch what you're doing. It's not your girlfriend's place to then go and start. And I really think that it has to do with him not knowing the code, not knowing anything about Black culture, about boundaries. This is that white people do, or his Lebanese people do. And so he don't get it. Just like he don't get probably that what he did to Mariah is so up because he didn't grow up around Black people. So he don't get it. And now it's all coming to me, and it's becoming clearer to me that, yeah, he don't get it because he ain't been taught no better. Back at the house, it's Nick and Preston there first, and Nick is telling him how upset he is. He was like, I ain't never been this mad before. Everybody else get back to the house. This sneaky come up to him and give him a hug, give Nick a hug, and then stands there next to him because she know what she did is wrong and she want to be there to watch the aftermath. So she's standing there ready, just watching. And Amir asks, are you mad at her? And he was like, no, because he don't know that she's the culprit yet. He don't know that. So Nick was like, apparently I get a little handsy with the three of you. He says it's to Noelle and we need to address it. And he was like, you, ma'am? That's wild to me. I know you want to be included, but that's up. I was like, damn, Nick, you ain't have to eat Noelle up like that. But this is what you get for running your mouth. Noelle says to him that she never said that he got touchy-feely with her. No, she did not say that. You shouldn't have been having that conversation anyway, especially when you know that he'd already handled that. Y'all was gossiping and y'all was being messy. So Noelle goes upstairs to get Shanice and to get Bria. Shanice comes downstairs like, I never said you touched me either. She was like, but your eyes do wonder. He was like, so your eyes get handsy now? Bria comes down and Preston was like, what was the final moment where it was like, maybe we now should tell her? And Natalie was like, well, I'm the one who brought it up. Baby, it was the look on Preston and Jasmine's face that had me hollering. Preston and media was looking like, no, this didn't. It was the white girl. Jasmine was like, oh, hell no. Hell no. We didn't let an infiltrator, a colonizer come in here and disrupt our peace and turn the Black people against each other. This is exactly what they did in slave days, pit us against each other. So Amir gets to immediately shucking and jiving. Oh, y'all, don't be mad at her. All she was doing is trying to help. What, isn't that right, Martha? Isn't that right, Miss Natalie? And I'm like, oh my God. Bria was like, I never said you got handsy with me, but you do get loose. And so they was like, what does loose mean? She then says that Nick flirted with her on boat day. Now they flash back to boat day. When they was on the boat, she was twerking and he was like, get it, Bria, get it, Bria. That's not flirting, that's hyping you up. Then when they was in the car, he said that she had a donk or something like that. That girl ain't got not damn bit of ass, but okay. And she was like, you could take me out to like sushi or whatever. He was like, I would do that most definitely. Now, that could have been flirting if you want to take it there, that he was trying to say he'd take you out to eat. But it was giving me very much, he was giving you a compliment on some homeboy, homegirl. Nick is pissed. And he was like, that up, Bria, up. And we leave it on a cliffhanger. I felt bad for Nick, but at the same time, it's a lesson for him that needs to be learned, that if he gonna be in a relationship, he needs to learn how to be in a relationship unless he tell that girl they're in an open relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because it's obvious. Not even taking out the handsy part of it with Noelle and, not Noelle, with Summer and Jordan. It's obvious with your mannerisms, with the way you look at other women, that you're still out here fishing. You have not made up your mind about Tasia, and you're wasting that girl's time. She wants to marry you. You're not there, and it's obvious. I don't know what it is he's looking for, but he has not found it in her. He's still trying to land this big fish, and it seems to me like he don't want to settle with her. It feels to me like he thinks that he can do better than her. There's something better out there. The grass is greener on the other side. And maybe it is. We don't know, but it's obvious that a part of you is still 1 foot out the door. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that he needs to rectify. Bria, Noelle and Shanice was wrong for gossiping amongst that traitorous. It's a lesson to be learned for everybody in that situation. And Tasia, the lesson for her is to learn how to have more dignity and self-esteem about herself. I'm going to give this week's episode of Summer House an A. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. I can't wait for next week's episode. Y'all make sure to thumbs up this video, subscribe, and turn on your post notifications. I love you. Let's talk about what you guys felt about this week's episode of Summer House down below in the comment section. I cannot wait to hear what you guys got to say because, baby, Natalie